The rain poured like the sky itself was grieving. A billionaire CEO stepped out of his broken-down car, furious, wet, and stranded miles from civilization. The world knew him as ruthless, unstoppable, but tonight he was just a man with nowhere to go. Then she appeared, a quiet waitress in a soaked apron, clutching a rusted wrench. She didn't ask questions, just got under the hood and fixed his engine with the precision of a trained mechanic. He offered her $1,000. She refused with a soft smile and turned to leave. But then he saw it, dangling from her neck, a necklace he'd buried with his mother 25 years ago. A necklace that should have never left the grave. His face turned pale. His voice trembled. Where? Where did you get that? She paused, looked him dead in the eyes. You really don't remember me, do you? And in that moment, everything he thought he knew about his past, his family, and himself began to unravel. The rain was coming down in sheets, slapping against the pavement like it carried rage. A black McLaren 765 LT, sleek, low, arrogant, sat dead on the side of the highway, hazard lights blinking like warning signals from the universe. Inside, Tyler Kane Maddox, age 39, worth $8.2 billion and known globally as the mind behind Kane Tech Industries, slammed his palm against the steering wheel. The car, a machine that cost more than most homes, had given up on him during a storm, miles away from the city, without signal, security, or shelter. Unbelievable, he muttered, stepping out into the downpour. He didn't look like a billionaire tonight, soaked to the bone, expensive coat sagging, hair stuck to his forehead. His assistant had suggested he take the private jet, but Tyler had wanted to drive, to clear his head. Regret clung to him now, like the rain. The only light nearby came from a flickering diner sign a few hundred feet away. Maggie's place, the kind of roadside pit stop that smelled like burned coffee in desperation. He jogged toward it, cursing each puddle. As he neared, the door swung open, and she came out. She wasn't what he expected. No umbrella, no coat, just a woman in her early 30s, drenched, with rolled-up sleeves and a wrench in her hand like she meant business. You break down? She called, voice cutting through the rain. Tyler blinked. Yeah, but, what are you doing? She shrugged. Helping, pop the hood. Do you even know what kind of car this is? She shot him a tired look. That a challenge, rich guy? With no better options, he obeyed. She didn't hesitate. Within seconds, she was under the hood, fingers moving with uncanny familiarity. Wet wire, probably the ground coil. This engine runs like a beast but acts like a diva when it's soaked. He blinked again. You a mechanic or a waitress? Both, and neither, she said without looking up. Within 2 minutes, the car came to life again with a low growl. She stepped back, wiping her hands on her apron. There. Should get you where you're going. He stared at her, stunned, then reached into his wallet and pulled out a wad of cash. Take this. You earned it. She waved him off. I'm not helping for money. That stopped him. People like her always took the money. They had to. But she didn't flinch, just turned to walk back toward the diner. And that's when he saw it, the necklace. A small, heart-shaped locket on a rusted chain, barely visible in the stormlight. But Tyler recognized it immediately. His breath caught in his throat. It wasn't possible. That necklace had been buried with his mother 25 years ago in a small cemetery in Georgia. He stared as if seeing a ghost. Wait, hey, where did you get that necklace? She froze, slowly turned. The rain traced rivers down her cheeks. I was wondering how long it would take you to notice, she said softly. He stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. Who are you? She looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time, and said the words that would begin the unraveling of everything he thought he knew. You really don't remember me, do you? For a long moment, Tyler just stood there, frozen, speechless. The rain kept falling, but he couldn't feel it anymore. His eyes were locked on hers, and that necklace, the locket, heart-shaped, rusted around the edges. Alyssa didn't answer right away. Her hand lingered near the locket as if it were her armor and her anchor all at once. The diner's neon light buzzed overhead, casting flickering shadows across their booth. Outside, the rain had softened into a steady drizzle. The world felt paused, like it was holding its breath, waiting for a choice to be made. Tyler stepped forward. "Let me help you," he said softly, but Alyssa's eyes stayed firm. "Help me how? Write me a check. Give me a job at one of your glass towers and call it even?" "No," he said, shaking his head. "Help you breathe again. I want to do more than just make things right. I want to be present. For the first time in decades." She crossed her arms, her defenses rising. "People like you don't show up without expecting something in return." "Not this time, Minurn," he replied. "I owe you more than I can ever repay. And it's not about the locket. It's about you." She glanced away, as if looking too long at him might shatter what little strength she had left. "You really don't know what it was like, do you? Watching you become someone, while I stayed invisible." "I can imagine," he said quietly, "because I felt it too, like I abandoned a part of myself. I built a kingdom, Alyssa, but none of it means anything when the only person who really knew me doesn't believe I deserve it." The words hung heavy in the air. Then she whispered, "Why now?" "Because this storm led me back to you. And maybe it's time I stopped running from what matters." He pulled something from his coat pocket. It wasn't money. It was a folded photo, creased and weathered. He flattened it on the table. A black and white picture of two kids under a magnolia tree, their arms around each other, eyes full of dreams too big for the world they were born into. "You kept this?" she whispered, stunned. "Always." Her hand trembled as she reached for it. "I meant what I said under that tree," he said. "That I'd find you. I failed you then, but I don't want to fail again." Alyssa looked at him, really looked. The CEO, the power, the titles, they fell away in that moment. He wasn't Tyler Maddox, the billionaire. He was the boy who used to trade peanut butter sandwiches and carve promises into tree bark. "I don't need your money," she said. "I know. I don't want pity. You deserve better than pity. You deserve partnership, purpose, whatever you want." A long silence followed. Then her voice softened. "I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't blame you." She looked down at the photo, then the locket, then him. "But I think," she said slowly, "maybe we can rebuild something. Not what we lost, but what we were always meant to have." He smiled. Not the smug grin the world knew him for, but the rare, gentle smile he'd forgotten he could still make. "Then let's start with breakfast," he said. "You hungry?" Alyssa blinked in surprise. "What?" He laughed, motioning to the waitress behind the counter. "I haven't had waffles in 20 years. A soft chuckle escaped her lips. "You're ridiculous. But persistent," he added. She nodded. "That much hasn't changed." They sat together for hours, talking, remembering, daring to imagine what could come next. And by the time the sun broke through the clouds outside, the storm had passed. Not just from the sky, but from their lives. Later that year, Tyler bought the diner and rebuilt it brick by brick, not into some soulless franchise, but into Magnolia's Hope, a community space offering warm meals, job training, and mentorship for foster youth across Georgia. And Alyssa? She didn't just run it, she became its heart. Not because she fixed a billionaire's car, but because she helped him remember the parts of himself that were never truly broken.